So let's take a look at the first piece of the puzzle, the OCG compliance.
So this is our OCG Live. This is where you can upload your OCGs and our system will automatically pull all the rules. So here you can actually go in and you can customize these fields, but right now we just have client name and client number, and upload an actual PDF file of your OCGs. But I'll show you the actual OCGs we have in our demo system. So there's 3 of them in here. I'm going to take a look at this one.
This is really cool, and I'll tell you the genesis behind this is when we went to market was and we would the bridging the frustration gap has been a journey, right? We didn't figure out how to do that from day one, but this component of the product was built to bridge an element to that frustration gap in the sense that we'd go to our clients to onboard them and we'd say, send us your OCGs. And, you'd think that that would be an easy request, but what we found was clients were struggling with where are the OCGs? What's the most current one? Is there any sensitive data in there that we don't feel comfortable sharing with a vendor, et cetera, et cetera. And so what we did was we built a place where all of the OCGs could be in the firm, could be managed and stored within our system because we use those OCGs to generate a rule set.
So as Rick mentions, we generate the rule set, and you can see here, we've pulled the rules and we've separated them into different categories. So here you'll see some fee rules, some cost rules. And actually we had one firm that was using our system come back to us and said, it would be really cool if you also pull the data security rules so we know what to do in an instance of a data security breach and things like that for each client. So we've also started doing that as well with the data security rule sets. If we go back up here to the fee rules, let's just take an example here. Let's just click on one of these. It'll actually take you to the rule set, and then you can also change the name of the rule if you need to, if you want to create your own kind of custom categories. Let's take this one as an example, inappropriate staffing levels. This is also a common one. I'll show you later in our BillSync module, where it's attorneys performing the work of a paralegal. That usually gets triggered and it gets rejected by the e-billing portals. So here you can actually see the actual rule here, using lawyers for tax for which non-lawyer could have been used. That is a very common violation within the e-billing portals. And anybody that is submitting these e-bills probably knows that and has issues with that. It's very common. So I'll show you that later into our BillSync system.
It's really cool, right? Not only from a central repository of the OCGs and the rules associated with them, but we're actually dealing with now the time and billing or time and cost compliance piece of e-billing directly from individual clients' rule sets. There's no generic rules apply. This is what you, the law firm, have agreed to with your client. And we know it's hard to deal with the compliance piece. We believe we're making it extremely easy with our BillSync solution. So Jess, let's jump into what happens next, which is we like that term, we scrub the entries against the OCG rule sets, and then we allow the firm to cleanse the entries, perfect the entries, make them right.
Yeah, so in this demo system, these are all scrubbed entries. We have them categorized. Right now it's red and green. So the red ones represent items that we believe will be rejected by the e-billing systems. Green are the ones we feel aren't going to be rejected based on the wording in the OCGs. So the green ones are good. And then we've also recently added a different category, which is yellow. And as an example for that, one firm came back to us and said, well, these ones that you're flagging, I know it violates the OCG, but we don't typically have a problem with those going through the portal and being accepted. So we said, okay, well, we'll still flag them, but we want to make it a cautionary flag. So we'll categorize those as yellow, just so you're aware of them in case you want to make changes to them. So these are all items. Obviously, the red are the ones that are going to need to be worked on and need changes. So I'll find an example here that we talked about earlier, staffing issue. So paralegal work being done by an attorney. So here's one example. And what you could do is actually go directly in here and change the narrative to justify and make sense of why an attorney had to do this work. And just change the narrative directly on here. And also you can change other things as well. You just have to click through here and easily change it directly in our system, and these changes will be implemented.
So the scrubbing and cleansing is, again, putting the firm in a position to submit a bill that is in compliance with the OCGs or in compliance with what the firm has agreed to with their client. Without this tool, it's incredibly complicated, nearly impossible, very difficult. And again, as we've onboarded clients, this process you've seen so far, we're about a day into that onboarding, right? Upload your OCG, you get an email with your login, upload your time and costs, you get access to that data directly as Jessica's showing it to us here. Let's take a look. Let's review where we are in our workflow if we could, because we've covered the first piece of OCG compliance. Invoice submission is our next piece. It sounds easy, right? It sounds real easy. What's so hard about submitting invoices? Well, it's not easy, and it's very complicated because most firms are dealing with a dozen, some firms are dealing with 2 dozen, 3 dozen e-billing portals, e-billing gateways, the place where they have to submit the invoices. And each company has a different piece of software requiring detailed and specific knowledge by an e-billing specialist. So that person has to log into a platform, maneuver through the program to determine how to submit the bill. And it's different for every single one. And in some firms, someone might be an expert on time metrics and be able to do that quickly and easily, but they don't know how to do it on counseling. And of course the process continues. So we aggregate it. We make it so you submit every single e-bill, regardless of platform, directly to us, and our BillSync solution pushes those out to any and all platforms, knows how to inject those directly into the e-billing gateway, and you're off and running. The other thing that's really cool about what we do with the invoice submission is we do a pre-validation. So you've already scrubbed your data, you've gotten your data in compliance, but there's often some technical challenges with uploading the invoice. There are some portals that, believe it or not, classify classify paralegals as legal assistants, but your time and billing system classifies it as a paralegal, and so that's going to fail when you submit that lead file. We do a pre-validation check, and we're able to correct all of those issues before the submission occurs. So what seems like an easy step, invoice submission, is incredibly complicated, but again, we accelerate the value in legal tech. We help people get benefit and close the frustration gap instantly by making this a drag and drop submission, and everything happens for them that otherwise could have taken days and multiple people involved. Let's move now to the final stage of the workflow, which is payment and appeals, right? Or appeals and payment, however you want to kind of think about that. Our product increases realization rate. It decreases non-billable and administrative time. I think you've seen that in the compliance piece and the e-bill submission piece. But I think the real excitement, they're all exciting pieces, but as a ex-CFO of Big Law, the real exciting piece is when do I get paid? How do I get paid? And so, Jess, you want to walk us through and show us the payment and appeal piece, please?
Yes. So in this instance, I am viewing it as an attorney, or it's up to the firm how they want to process these appeals. If they want to directly have the attorneys add any kind of supporting documentation or comments. But we'll take one of these as an example. So this one, travel time should also be separately designated. If attendance of this event was virtual and required no travel, that must be specifically noted. So in this instance, you would either want to add some kind of documentation to support your travel plans, or whether it was virtual or not. So they could easily just do it here through our system. They can add documentation or insert some comments. That way, when the appeal is processed, all that information goes with it.
Again, BillSync is managing the appeal and payment piece as an aggregated system. So whether you're using one e-billing portal or whether you're using 30, you're going to live within our product, remove the frustration of having to have experts in all of the different gateways and process your appeals and track your payments faster than you've ever been able to before without spreadsheets.
So Rick and Jessica, if I'm seeing that properly, if I have like a $72 parking bill and they kick it back out because I didn't include the receipt, in the old workflow, I got to go, oh, well, they're on time metrics. I got it where like I don't normally upload receipts after the fact. I got to figure out here. I don't care what they use as long as I have that receipt. I can slide it right in the interface that you guys just showed. And there's no reason for me to not give up on that appeal, even though it's only $72, because it's a few seconds of work to solve the problem.
Yes, that is correct. Our system makes it very easy. And like Rick said, one of the biggest issues is law firms having to use many different e-portals. And our system aggregates all that, and you can do everything directly within our system. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward as far as the system goes. We've made it as user-friendly as possible. We're always open to suggestions.
And there's other, obviously this is a quick demo, right? There's other elements and key components of this. So for example, there's a write-off module. So, we're never going to be successful in getting 100% realization, although increasing a firm's realization rate by 16.6% is quite amazing. But there will ultimately be some items that you might appeal, and that appeal will not be accepted. You've got to process that write-off now in your accounting system, which again is incredibly cumbersome. And if you've got dozens of them or hundreds of them, it's a full-time job of at least one person sitting down and processing the write-offs. With our system, there's a routing and approval piece. So if the firm has a complex approval piece for writing something off, they can do that within our system. But moreover, once the item's been declared a write-off, we simply process that write-off directly into your time billing and accounting system without